Greetings and welcome to the Biz Info Zone show. You are in the zone with your host, moi, Lynn Hawkins. I'm the founder and dean of the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship. And I am so excited to be here with you today to not only introduce you to someone who's a marketing genius, but someone who has been massively successful in bringing about her marketing business and career. And I want to share with you how you can be successful bringing your entrepreneurial enterprise into the social space and aligning with a cause, as well as bringing people, your ideal clients and customers, closer to you so that you can maintain a customer base, grow it, sustain it, and in building a bigger business, you can do more good in the world. So today, my guest is the amazing Elaine Starling. She's a sought-after speaker, a consultant, a columnist, a mentor, and a very successful entrepreneur. She acts as the chief innovation officer of a boutique marketing firm called Starling Media Services Incorporated, and she helps purpose-driven women entrepreneurs become legacy leaders who communicate effectively to make a lasting difference in the world and increase their profits and enjoy highly successful and fulfilling businesses. That's what got me about her, because I think it's so important for us to be in the space of living legacy and legacy leadership. And I want you to know that in everything that Elaine does, she believes that women entrepreneurs drive the economy. She accelerates the growth of business entrepreneurs by providing insightful, actionable strategies to identify and communicate their highest value. She's the author of the amazing Why 5% Succeed, the 5 Principles of Predictable Profit. And she's the host of the Why 5% Succeed show and podcast. And she's acknowledged as a thought leader and a marketing master. She's generated over $100 million for her clients by creating innovative programs that increase participation, process improvement, positioning, and profit. And if you have been in business, you know about business, you want to increase your business impact, this is the space that you want to be in. Elaine serves on the board of directors for Women Impacting Public Policy, a bipartisan organization representing 70 professional women's organizations and over 8.3 million women business owners. She serves on the advisory board of Enterprising Women, an organization supporting over 400,000 women entrepreneurs around the world with businesses generating over $1 million. She's in national and international clients, including WebEx and Shutterfly and Symantec, Sprint, Mattel Toys, Orion Pictures, and the list goes on. But I think the most important thing for you to know about our guest today is that she cares about you. And she's here today to bring you her beauty, her masterful media marketing genius to this space to help you to grow your business. So I want to say welcome, Elaine. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Leland. I love seeing your smiling face. You are such a sympathetic energy. I just love where you're coming from, and I couldn't be more delighted to be here to serve you and serve your viewers.
Thank you so much. It is such a joy to be here. And I want the audience to know this piece of our story too, because it speaks to how we do business these days. You know, you and I met several years ago when I was living in California. We met live and we met as names crossing paths with each other. And it wasn't until a couple of months ago when we were attending the NAMS conference here in Atlanta that we actually met in person. And it was one of those things, gosh, I think I know you, but I definitely know your name. And then it was like, oh my gosh, we were not just fast friends, we were connected. It's like we are sisters
Mm-hmm.
in the mission to help women entrepreneurs and build legacy leaders. And we know that building legacy leaders means that more legacy leaders get built and more businesses, especially women-owned businesses, get impacted by the positive influence that we've had and that legacy leaders have had on these businesses. So take a few minutes, if you will, and just tell our audience a little bit about you, how you got started on this journey, and a little bit about what your path was to get you here where you're doing such great work.
Oh, thank you so much, Lynn. I really appreciate that. You know, my background is much like a lot of people's. I went to university. I went to college at University of Texas in Austin. I got a Bachelor of Science in Advertising, BS in Advertising. I thought that was very appropriate. Worked for a number of ad agencies in the Los Angeles area, and then also in San Francisco, and ended up going client side. Well, after a while, I'd done very well in my business, but I wanted more creative freedom, and I really saw that the future was how I could support others like me who were trying to make a difference in the world. So I started my own business in '96, and it's just been thriving and growing. Now, I had a pretty dramatic thing happen to me 10 years ago. On January 1st, New Year's Day, 2005, I had a stroke while I was on vacation. Yeah, it was one of these out of blue things. And the thing that was so interesting about this, during the stroke, I believe I had a conversation with God. Now, nobody else might believe that, and there's no way for me to prove it. I know it happened, and I know I had this conversation with God. And the thing that's so ironic about this whole thing, a month before I had the stroke, it was right around my birthday, and I was talking to my husband about how I love what I do, and it's really fun for me. But you know how when you develop a level of excellence at something, it starts to become a little rote. It starts to become a little, you can do it in your sleep, right?
Yes.
And so the excitement, the interest, I mean, yeah, it's easy for you and it's fun and you love it, but the growth isn't there. And I felt like something was missing, and I felt like I needed to mix it up, but I couldn't figure out what it was. And there was a part of me that felt kind of greedy for wanting more. So I told my husband, you know what, I gotta stop thrashing. I gotta stop with all this. If I got hit by a bus tomorrow, I could die happy. Famous last words. Because 1 month later, I had a stroke. And it was a really profound experience. I suddenly got tunnel vision and little sparkly things around the outside. And then my right arm started to go numb, and the right side of my face started to go numb. And my husband quickly got me to an emergency center. They gave me half an aspirin. They would ask me to describe a picture on the wall. I knew what they said, but the wrong words were coming out of my mouth. And I was just really tired. I felt great. I felt wonderful. I felt like Saturday morning, kind of snoozy, sleeping in. I just wanted to take a nap, go away, leave me alone. I was only mildly worried that my husband was so upset. So they finally let me take a nap. And as soon as I relaxed, I felt like I was in this massive cloud. And it was sentient. It was alive. It was aware. It knew everything about me. It knew every single fault and foible, all those things that I hated about myself, all those things that you think are massive faults. If only I wasn't so like that, right? It looked at those things and said, that's perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. I've never felt so much profound approval and appreciation and validation in my life. It was just amazing. So being the geek that I am, I've never had this kind of an experience before. I don't know what's going on, so questions are coming up for me. And as soon as I'm thinking the question, the answer comes back in my body. It's like an instant knowing. I'm having a conversation, but without words. And I can't really explain what's going on, but I would ask a question and immediately get an answer back. And I asked a lot of questions. And eventually I heard this message, are you sure you're done? And I was having a great time, and I'm trying to kind of, still keep asking questions. I'm like, oh no, I'm halfway through my vacation, having a lovely time. The people in New Zealand are great, blah, 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 blah. And there was a pause. And then I heard back, no, you don't understand. You said you were done thrashing. You said you were done. But the thing to understand is that life isn't that much about you. Life is through you and how you show up while you're here. If you're sure you're done, you can use that ectoplasm for something else. Are you sure you're done? And I said, no, I've got more to do. And I could tell I did. And I came out of the stroke with 0 damage. I've been checked out by doctors. They can't tell anything happened. The only proof I have is the hospital bill and my husband's anxiety after the fact. And that's really it. So that was a huge turning point for me, where I went from more corporate consulting to more working with women business owners like you and me, because I really see that is a tipping point for the entire world. When you empower women, you not only bring women along, you bring along the men and the children too. It's an all-encompassing solution.
Yes.
So that's truly where my heart is.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. And what a story. I'm just a chills.
I know.
And you tell it so vividly that I was actually in it with you. And I can honestly say that you are not alone. There was a point where my life looked like I was the airplane that had been flying along. Life was just great, blue skies, sunshine. And then it was like this nosedive, and I was 10 minutes from crash and burn. And that was an eye opener. And I would venture to say women business owners who are so passionate about the work that they're doing, that are so engaged in how it is that they're showing up, have had a similar experience of knowing that whatever it is that you're called to do, whatever it is that you're here being, the you that you are is bigger than you.
Always.
And I love that, because that actually is a great segue into our conversation about doing business backwards. There's so many of us and so many women business owners who I talk to today who have either said, when I started my business, I had a thought that I would do this, that, and the other. Not a vision, but a thought. And then there are some that say, I had a vision, but I went off in this direction and then that direction. And it's like, what's the value of a vision? And so I want to ask you, even in thinking about doing business backwards, what's your answer to the question about the value of a vision?
Oh, it's the heart and soul of everything you're doing. And it's really interesting that you say that, because your vision is a part of how you want to show up in the world, your self-expression. It's what you believe in. It's your values and how you want to bring your unique skills and traits, interests, and abilities to make a difference for others in the world. When you can get into that space where it's not about you, it's you being there for others and you being that conduit. I liken it to, you are a straw, okay? You are the straw that God uses to impact everybody around you. Now, you can be one of those itty bitty little swizzle sticks that you get when you get a drink at the bar. Have you ever tried to slurp through one of those things? You'll pass out, right? Because it's really hard to get anything through one. They like slaughtered it in the middle or something. It's terrible. Or you could be a massive pipe, and you could let all kinds of ideas and information flow through to help those around you. And when you find yourself most nervous, when you're most anxious, it's probably because you're focused on you. And when you can shift out of that mindset and be there for the other person, notice how they're feeling, what their needs are, what their challenges are, and help them identify the solution that will work best for them. all of a sudden you're much more confident, you're much more capable, you're more articulate, you're more precise, and you can really sense there's a connection there because you're trying to serve instead of trying to take for yourself. It's a huge difference in personal awareness. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people struggle with. It's so interesting. One of the messages that I got back is that every single thing around you is designed to be a blessing. Everything. And those things that are the biggest nightmares to you are actually the biggest blessings. And here's why. You go through life, and when life is good, you're just tripping along, doing your thing, right? You're just in the groove, you're just moving and shaking, you're doing your thing, and you're having a great time. And then all of a sudden, the stuff hits the fan. And you got to stop for a second. And it's an opportunity for you to notice where your attention really has been. Because sometimes if you put your attention on one thing for too long, you miss other opportunities. And so those big roadblocks, those big challenges, those big nightmares are there to wake you up and get you to start to pay attention. Where is your awareness? Where is your focus? Once you're aware where your attention is, you can focus on what's really going to work for you and where you want to go. And that circles back to the vision. So often what has happened is you've gotten off your vision. You're not in integrity. You're not in alignment with your vision the way you could have been. And it's easy to see how that happens because when you're passionate about making a difference and you really want to deliver for people, you'll try this thing. And if that doesn't work, you'll try that thing. And you'll try this and try this and try this and try this. And the problem is you don't make progress if you don't stick with something and really develop a mastery so that you can own it and show up effectively there. And when you do too many things, you'll find that none of them are effective. When you streamline, simplify, systemize, syndicate, everything works better. Everything. So it's a reminder to pick a few key things that are in total alignment with your vision that allow your gifts and abilities to show up to serve others. Yeah, you get to enjoy them, but the reason why you were given them in the first place is because the rest of us benefit from you, who you are, exactly as you are. All the things that you hate about you are just what we need.
Oh, that's so beautifully said. I love that. And, it truly is looking in the mirror and what it is, who it is that you choose to see. Because what you're talking about is really being in the state of awareness that allows you to choose to see beyond what's right here in front of me. I hear a lot of people talk about, well, in this circumstance and I'm in that circumstance. And when you allow yourself to be there is when you get consumed. It's like being in the center of an ocean vortex that is sucking you down, and it's gonna be hard to pull up from there. So I love it. Having your vision set is one way that you can quell the pull of the vortex. I love that. Yes. And there are again people who say, I've been moving forward, I've been thinking about this forward stuff. I've got the carrot that I'm dangling in front of me that I always am, just that far from reaching. And, there's a disconnect in that thinking as well. And take a moment and kind of give us your perspective on that carrot and the stick kind of thinking.
Well, one of the gifts that you're given, and this is really ironic, one of the gifts that you're given is, call it a personal taser, call it a cattle prod, whatever you want to think. It's kind of U-shaped, and it's something that you came up with early in your life when you were an infant, and you really didn't have a total context or perspective, and something happened, and you took it completely out of context and created this personal taser, okay? Again, it's U-shaped, and you have defined this as kind of defining who you are and what your limitations are. And so you're constantly running ahead of it because again, you're caught here in the middle and you're trying to stay ahead of it, but then it's got bumpers on either side. And so you kind of ping pong back and forth between the bumpers and you try to run ahead of it. Many people call this your limiting belief. Okay. A limiting belief is a story that you made up before you could understand things in context. And the beautiful thing is you have total control over your story. You can decide exactly what your story is going to be today, in this moment. And one of the things that people struggle with all the time is this idea of, okay, well, I want to accomplish this thing out here, and I'm not there yet. So I'm disappointed. I feel like I'm not successful because that hasn't happened yet. In reality, what that is a series of little steps that suddenly get you there. And anybody who has strived long and hard to accomplish something, whether it's learning a new language or graduating from school or accomplishing writing a book, that is quite a challenge. Anything that you're trying to do, once that thing is done, it's kind of like, whew. And the satisfaction is ephemeral. The satisfaction doesn't last. What's satisfying are those little bitty steps that you took to get there. What's so refreshing, what's so incredibly rewarding is that journey that you take and how you grow and all the experiences you get to have. That's the juice. That's the joy, not that outcome. The outcome is there to inspire you and to enable you to be excited about going where you're going. It's really interesting. There are two things that people want. Two things they want help with. One is managing fear. Fear is a constant as a human being. We always have a certain level of fear around us. Sometimes it's very minimal, sometimes it's pretty big. You suddenly see a car coming at you, all of a sudden that fear factor jumps up pretty high, right? So we need to figure out how do we manage that fear, because it's always going to be there, and it's there as a motivator. It's there to inspire you to take action. There are 4 different things you can do with fear. You can fight, you can flight, run away, you can freeze, or you can focus. Focus is the most effective thing, okay? And all that means is focus on what you want to have happen. Focus on the story you want instead of the story you don't want. Now, I'm a marketing geek, so of course I tend to use a lot of marketing examples. When you're doing keyword advertising, you've got a lot of different keywords that you're testing. The ones that don't work, you ignore. You don't put any time or attention on those. You focus on the ones that are working. And then you come up with variations on that theme that work even better. And see, that's one of the challenges that people struggle with, is they get so distracted by what's not working yet. And one of the things that I do with my clients is I always get them to focus on daily celebrations. You want to look at progress in 4 different areas. And when I talk about doing business backwards, I talk about it a little bit differently than a lot of folks. So I don't want to run off with the conversation. You may have some additional questions for me. I'll get to that in just a minute.
Well, I'm interested in hearing these 4 different parts of progress.
Absolutely. Okay. So here's how a lot of people think about doing business. A lot of them think, okay, revenue, show me the money, and yesterday would be great. The more money, the better. And you need money, obviously. Money is very important. Money is about security, freedom, and status. And it's a natural human need to have that revenue. Well, then, once the money's coming in, a lot of people think, well, when the money's rolling in, my reputation's going to be made. People will be calling me up faster than I can write out the orders. Oh my gosh, my name's going to be everywhere. Everybody's going to know who I am. My reputation will be solid. And once my reputation is there, I can have these great relationships with people I've admired for years. I'll know how to get in touch with Lynn Hawkins. Maybe I'll even be on her show someday. Awesome, right? And then you start drilling down and trying to find out, is there anything else they want? Is there anything else that would really make life worth living? And finally, they start talking about that incredibly rewarding experience when they can show up and just be in the zone be naturally who they are, be authentic and real with their gifts, with their blessings, oh my gosh, that's what fulfillment is, right?
Yes.
And
Yes,
the
it is.
sad thing is they think they have to wait until the revenue's there and the reputation's there and the relationships are there before they can have any of that rewarding experience. Unfortunately, that's doing business backwards because everything starts with your rewarding experience. That's what everybody wants. That's what everybody sorts for. Your best prospects and clients are looking for that validation, that they're in the right place, that you can help them solve a critical problem, that you can make them feel good about themselves. And the beautiful thing is, you get self-expression as they get self-validation. Hard to beat that. Well, once your rewarding experience is in place, you have the opportunity to create great relationships with people. All a relationship is a series of rewarding experiences. That's truly all it is. And as long as it continues to be rewarding, you will continue to have that relationship. And it's a mutual investment. Someone you want to work with, a prospect or a client, they see you as somebody who can help them. And as long as they continue to feel that you're helping them, you're serving them in some way, you make them feel good about who they are, the more they want that relationship to last. And the longer you feel like you can really be of service and you can really leverage your gifts and have these great experiences, the more you want that relationship to continue too. Well, once that relationship is established, then you have the opportunity for reputation. And this is where a lot of people get confused between standards and reputation. Because what you control in your business is your standards, how you treat your clients, how quickly you respond to questions, how valuable your products and services are. All of those things are your standards that you set. Your reputation is actually owned by your relationships. They will tell the rest of the world who you are being for them. That's what they own. You own standards, they own your reputation. It's incredibly valuable because you can create a platform that allows them to celebrate what they've been able to accomplish through your relationship, and it promotes both of you at the same time. It's one of the things that I always recommend my clients do. Do endorsements for other people. Talk about what you love about Lynn Hawkins and her show, because it's fabulous. You've learned something new. Do a video endorsement for Lynn Hawkins. What's going to happen? You're going to get shown as being somebody who's pretty insightful, who pointed out a critical component that maybe some folks missed, and they get to see it through your eyes, and you're validating Lynn Hawkins at the same time. What's not to love? It's double whammy, and every time you bring those two things together, everybody wins. When you've got that rewarding experience, those great relationships, and the reputation going, the revenue is unavoidable. Because your prospects, your clients, are so pleased with the work that you're doing with them. They give you revenue because it's a sign of their trust in you. It's a sign of their gratitude for what you're doing. And it's a sign of their affiliation. They relate to you. They want to be like you. They want to be associated with you. And that's where the whole social entrepreneurship really is related to all that we're talking about here. Because when you are aligned with a nonprofit or a charity or a cause that you really believe in, it's shorthand for someone's brain to go, oh, she's like, in my case, she's like women impacting public policy. She's like enterprising women. She's really dedicated to helping women entrepreneurs thrive and grow. Got it. Shorthand, right?
Yes.
And it shows who you're being. It's not so much about exactly what you're doing, it's who you're being that people feel first. And that's when you create those connections.
I love that because, in this day and age, everybody's heard about the law of attraction. And there's a really great formula around the law of attraction that I think most people don't know. And it's actually two parts. One is the law of attraction is only one of many of the universal laws, and it is not a hierarchy law. There are other laws that are more dominant and prominent that it falls under if one thing isn't, is one way, then that's the law of attraction works underneath of that. Which is kind of what you're saying. It's like what you resonate from your heart, from your frequency, is what you attract. And most people think that the law of attraction, if I think affirmations and I think, this and that, the frequency that we emanate does not come from our thinking. It comes from our heart. And what affirmations do is have that mental that can align with the heart. And when that happens, then you are truly more able to show up to be the you. And the attractor factor there is the heart that you're putting into your business and your clients and customers, your prospects, the kind of conversations that you have, and the cause or causes that you support. And I love that, because the way that you've gone through these 4 phases or processes, or however you're describing them, as far as going and doing business backwards, I love the way that you built it forward, saying that that's what most people think, and then taking us backwards to really see the alignment and how you really, really do have to show up as the you that you're choosing to be, and from the heart, being in alignment with your head. And then these other things can come in, and it's at the tail end that the revenue happens. And I really appreciate that, because people think that, and I do it myself. I talk a lot about revenue generating activities, and those RGAs and those IGAs are very important, but you still have to be able to come to get to them, to do them from a place of heart and centeredness. And that is a lot of times the last place that people will come from. And so I love the way you're pointing out that it has to be first. So Elaine, tell us how it is that you kind of make more of that shift into understanding the value. And I love how you talked about it, my standards and my values, the value of self, not being selfish, except that you have to be selfish in order to really show up as the you that you are to be. Talk to us about that.
Okay, so remember the analogy that I used of the straw, right? You could be, this was a stick, or you could be a great big pipe. So your job is to make yourself as big a pipe as you possibly can be, right? So you're constantly trying to improve the pipe, stretch your awareness, stretch your ability to really let that God essence flow through you, leveraging your innate gifts and abilities to help other people. That's your job. So yes, self-improvement is at the core, but it's not about the pipe. It's not about the pipe. It's about what flows through the pipe. And frankly, you are 50% of the answer. A lot of people, myself included, get stuck in analysis paralysis. Like, you want to make it so perfect that you never get going. And it's a real challenge, because you're only 50% of the answer. The other person that you're talking to, that person you want to help, is the other 50%. And if they aren't ready to show up, if they aren't ready to be committed to the outcome they truly want, there's nothing you can do. It's the old lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? And really, there is a guiding principle that we're taught early on in life. And every single culture shares this principle. It's the principle of give and ye shall receive. Now, the key to that is give what the other person wants and ye shall receive even more. It's understanding what that other person's needs are. And so I really view social entrepreneurship as 3 different phases, okay? First is social awareness. And you and I were chatting about this shortly before we started the show, It's this idea of yes and. Social awareness is all about yes and. I talk about it as supportive love, appreciation, and gratitude. And to me, those are the best words I can find to describe what God felt like. God felt like supportive love. I don't have to be just like that. I can appreciate what's unique and valuable about you and celebrate you as you are without trying to change anything about you. That is supportive love. Okay? Let the other person be the genius that they are. That's supportive love. Gratitude. What is it that you love about this other person? And appreciation. Acknowledge them publicly on what they're doing that you really value. Make sure that you are being that yes and person and having social awareness about the person you're talking to. What are their biggest challenges, their biggest needs, their biggest priorities? And again, the two things they really want, managing their fear, maintaining focus. You help them with that, they're home free. Okay? So it's that social awareness first, and then it comes to social contribution. It's really kind of how we know who you are, is what you show up with, how you make a difference socially. Are you writing a blog regularly? Do you have a hangout show? Are you doing a podcast? Are you holding events? What are you doing publicly that allows the rest of us to celebrate and experience who you are? Because who you are is going to transform us. But if you're at home or you're stuck in your office and you never talk to anybody on the phone, you never get out of your office, we can't experience you and we can't benefit from you. So what is that contribution and how are you going to get out there and provide that contribution? And then the last part is social collaboration. Where are you going and supporting other people? And there's a really great example I'd like to share with you, Social Buzz Club. If you haven't heard about this resource, it's something you really need to check out. Social Buzz Club. And the way it works, they do have a free level and they also have a paid level. So you contribute your blog articles or videos or whatever, and the other members will redistribute that on their own blogs. They will share you out on their social media networks. They will take content from the network and rebroadcast it. Now, as a paid member, you have to share 5 things before you get to post your own thing. As a free member, you have to share 10 things before you can post your own thing. But you see what I'm talking about with collaboration, right? You're helping other people be successful. Why is that important? Because we perceive you to be most like the kinds of people you hang out with. We know you through what you're talking about. We know you through what you're sharing. We know you through the way you express yourself. And that's what's so attractive about you, right? So it's those 3 different steps to social entrepreneurship: is social awareness, social contribution, which can include financial contribution, and social collaboration. Those are the 3 components.
Beautiful. I love that. And my next question to you was going to be, well, what does social entrepreneurship mean to you? And I still think that's relevant because what you've shown us is 3 phases of social enterprise. And it still begs the question from your perspective. Tell me a little bit about what social entrepreneurship means for you, and in the setting of, media. Is there value there? Well, we know there is, but, as a media expert even, here's another piece of the question. What are you seeing that others are doing to show their social impact? That's what I wanted to say, to show their social impact.
Well, there are so many different things that people are doing, and truly it's because we're in a different phase of our society. I don't know if you've ever heard about this amazing book called Generations, but human beings go through cycles. Your life is a period of cycles, right? And all of our society goes through 2 different extreme cycles. There's individualism, And you can imagine, the 80s, boy howdy, it was all about every man for himself, right? And then we shift from individualism off to community. And we are in a very strong community phase. Each one of these phases lasts for 30 years, and it's a pendulum. So we swing up to community for 15 years, and then we go back down, and we switch into individualism. We go up into individualism for 15 years, and then come back down. That's why you'll see popular songs, popular books, popular movies. All the themes of the entire society will reflect those values when you're in that phase. We are in a very, very, very strong phase of community right now. We shifted back in, let me see, I think it was 2003. And we're going to stay here for a while. So if you want your business to thrive and grow, you jolly well better be thinking community, because that is where our entire society is. And you need to stay up with the times. You need to be a part of that. That said, we are social creatures. And we've known for some time now that if you look at the people who are surviving the longest, they have the most social connections. They're most involved with their community. They have more friends. They're less self-focused and more socially focused. And it stands true that businesses are exactly the same. Whether it's an individual or a business thrives by being a part of a community where other businesses can thrive because of what you're doing. So you see things like, shoot, the term just went right out of my head. Affiliates. In the world of online marketing, you'll see something called affiliate marketing. It's been around for a long, long time in the brick and mortar world, where you have maybe resellers, you have alliance partners. These are people who take your products and services and resell them. They get a piece of the action for every single sale because they've got skin in the game. They're part of your feet on the street. They're part of making it happen. But they're taking your products and services and expanding your distribution capability so that more people are served and more people are helped. It is a fundamental of successful businesses that you need to find a way to align yourself with others to make sure that they have an opportunity to prosper just as you prosper, whether you're online, offline, or a mix of both. Now, social entrepreneurship, obviously I'm going in a few different tangents because it means a lot of different things.
It does.
It's also about personal fulfillment. So it's the yin and yang, especially as a small business owner or an entrepreneur, because often you and your business is part of your self-expression. So what is true for your business is kind of true for you too, if you see what I mean. Mm-hmm. So having that social entrepreneurship, aligning yourself with professional organizations, aligning yourself with different charities, making an effort to showcase events that you really believe in and being a sponsor for those events, that is so key. And it's a key part of social entrepreneurship. I hope I've answered your question.
You have, and you really brought it to a level of understanding that shows entrepreneurs what it is that they can do. And I appreciate that, because one of the things that as a social entrepreneur, I like to bring to people's attention to focus on is, in fact, those partnerships that you were just talking about. If you are pretty much focused on a particular cause, then align with it, because who knows of your clients, customers, existing clients and customers who is also in that space and will be drawn to you even in a more deeper sense. Who knows what new prospects, ideal clients might see that kind of alignment and draw closer to you because they feel that connection. And it truly is about the connecting. And you made a great point as well with stating that, you are a reflection of the 5 people that you hang around with the most, but you don't want to not be in community because you think that these aren't the right people, those aren't the right people. Seek them out and talk to us a little bit about how someone might seek out those new associations that can become the deeper connections that someone might be able to say, I like who I'm hanging around with now. They truly are a reflection of the direction that I'm headed in and the work that I choose to do.
Well, one of the very first things that I really encourage my clients to do is take a look at your favorite books, your favorite resources that you go to. And again, I'm looking at this from a business perspective, but who is providing high value information that you find extremely useful? Because that's the kind of person that you really want to align with. So if you have your own blog or your own show, even just your social media that you're doing, I would encourage you to take that author and write about what it is they're doing that you love so much. Remember, I talked about doing an endorsement. Do an endorsement video talking about, this was really meaningful to me. When you explained this concept to me, that just totally opened my eyes to a whole new way of doing things in my business. When you acknowledge someone else publicly, you're immediately aligning with that person. Okay? So it's one of the fastest ways is identify what are the different tools and resources that you use that you love. What about it specifically do you appreciate? And then what are some different ways that you can support that person? Because again, it's give and then you get to receive. Now, there's some different ways that you support people. There are 5 different things you can do. First is connect with them. Social media has never made it easier. It used to be 6 degrees of separation. Now it's 3.72, something like that, if you're on Facebook. So, hey, you and the Pope, not that far apart. That's all I'm saying. Just get on social media, reach out to people, connect with people. And then the second thing that you do is comment. Look at what they're talking about on their social media and comment. Comment on their blog, retweet their posts, rebroadcast their posts. So it's connect, comment, share. Share it with your networks. And again, make a point of pointing out something specific that was really valuable to you. The fourth thing that you do is endorse. That's the public validation. Endorse what they're doing, why you like it, what about it really made a difference for you, and what are you going to do next because of it. That's the key part with the endorsement. What are you going to take action on? And then the final thing is act. Actually do it. Put it in effect. And tell them what happened once you did. People love that. You know, it's so interesting. You buy a book on gardening and you put it on the shelf and it's like, hey, now I know when I want to actually do that garden, I know exactly what to do. And you never pick the book up again because you've got the knowledge, you paid for it. It's right there on the shelf. That's how most people are. Most people will buy it and they won't actually do it. The most profound form of gratitude and acknowledgement is to actually take action. When somebody says, this will work for you, to actually put it in reality and implement it, and then report back and tell them what worked, what challenges you're having. Because people want you to succeed. It's so ironic. Most people have that mistaken belief that it's every man for themselves, that they're all alone and nobody understands what they're thinking, feeling, experiencing. In reality, your story is a universal story. We can so relate to you when you talk about an experience you had, a frustration that you went through, or a challenge that you're dealing with. And we want you to be successful because we feel what you feel. And people will provide resources and recommendations. Total strangers will reach out to you. Any disaster that we've ever had, earthquake, typhoon, whatever, people reach out and provide different things to try to help the survivors get through the challenging times. Human beings are social animals. So reach out, make an effort to make those contributions, connect, comment, share, endorse, and act. And once you've done that, you'll be amazed at how the floodgates open and the reciprocity really kicks in.
Ah, yes. What a great lesson. And those 5 steps are amazing. Very simple to hear and to do. And I appreciate you for bringing that and everything that we've talked about today to our audience. So, Elaine, I know that people want to connect with you to find out more about who you are, what you do, and how they might be able to utilize your services in order to assist them in their business growth and impact in the world. So, tell us a little bit about, I know that you have something that you'd like to invite the audience into. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Thank you. I just so believe in you. I know whoever you are, you have so much to offer. And I want you to be able to make a huge impact in the world. And one of the key things is understanding the benefits that you provide. So I've created a worksheet for free. And if you go to my website, why5, the number 5, succeed, I'm sorry, why5% succeed.com. You have to spell out percent and succeed, but it's the number 5, why5% succeed.com. If you go there and you put in your email address, I'll send you that handout so that you can see the 10 benefits. And that's really the start of the relationship. I also want to invite you to watch my weekly show, Why 5% Succeed. It's on YouTube. You can find the channel there. And Lynn Hawkins was one of my favorite guests. I learned so much from you during your show.
I so enjoyed it. Thank you. Yes.
But those are two great ways for people to learn a little bit more about me. And if you want the deep dive in a quick, easy to read chunk, go to Amazon and get the book, why5percentsucceed.com. You don't have to wait. It's available as a printed book, as an ebook, and there's a lot of great information in there. Because one of the challenges that I find business owners have, and we started talking about that vision for your business, so often people are so focused on the doing that they lose sight of the being. They're so focused on tactics, they lose sight of the strategy, right? And just as that vision is the strategy, I'm talking about 5 key principles that are the strategies that drive everything you want to experience in your business. Get those strategies nailed, and all of a sudden the few tactics that you need to spend your time on become really obvious. One of the challenges you have is you're probably trying to do too many different things. If you streamline, simplify, systemize, and syndicate, you will save a ton of time, a lot of money, and be way more effective. And that's really what I'm committed to delivering for you.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. And I want our audience to know that these links will be posted on the event page. They'll be posted in the YouTube page and on the Biz Info Zone page. So do connect with Elaine. And Elaine, what are these 10 benefits? Tell us a little more about those 10 benefits.
You're going to put me on the spot, do the memory test? Oh, you're terrible. So I will take you through 3 of the benefits because it's really important for people to understand just how much you bring to the table and what people are looking for from you. These are the benefits your prospects and clients want to hear about from you. So the first thing they always want to hear is, how are you going to help them make more money? What are the different things that you're doing that help them make more money? And you'll be surprised at how many different things there are. The next thing they want to know is, how can they save more money? If they're not going to make any, how can they save more? And there's a combination there. It's saving money and it's also keeping money. Because if you think about taxes and paying your income taxes, if you can reduce your income taxes, you get to keep more money. So it's kind of a combination: save money, keep money. And then the third thing that people really, really, really want, how can I make this more convenient and more efficient? How can it be easy and convenient for me to use and do? Because time is actually the most valuable thing that people have. Their time and their attention. They don't want to have to spend a lot of time, and they don't want to have to use a lot of that incredibly valuable attention to get the outcome that they want. So if you can make it very easy and turnkey for them, they love it. So those are the big three. There are 7 more. And please opt in, and I'll be happy to share all of that with you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for that. I thought it was important for people to know that not only did you deliver a plethora of just such great information here today, but that this 10 benefits list is something that you can actually, it's actionable.
Yeah.
It is totally implementation that's going to take you to the next level. And what Elaine has delivered today, as well as what she's providing for you, is all very actionable. And that's what we're doing here in the zone. The Biz Info Zone has been designed to bring you the information, the tools, strategies, tips, and tricks that allow you to do bigger business, because we want you to be able to do bigger things in the world and make a bigger impact in your area of interest and your causal purpose. And, I so appreciate Elaine, and I'm watching the clock, but Elaine, if there is one thing you want our audience to really walk away with and remember the conversation from today, what would that be?
I would like to give you one last tip. And this is a super easy thing to implement throughout your day. Remember how your mom used to get you to improve your posture? Head up, right? Shoulders back and down. What happens when you do that is your heart comes forward. And it is really interesting what happens in brain science. When your heart comes forward, your mouth speaks from your heart instead of from your head. It's amazing. You can try that in a networking situation. If you forget your posture, you might feel a little awkward and choppy when you're introducing yourself. Put your heart forward. Put your shoulders back and down, head up, interested in the other person, and speak from your heart. And it's amazing how quickly you'll make that connection. It immediately shifts you into being aware of the other person and showing up from your best and highest self. Fast and easy. Come from your heart.
Beautiful. I love that. And I was part of an interview series several months ago now, and something just came out of me that I didn't realize at the time, but whatever the conversation was, it led to the conversation around the heart and how our voice actually is first connected to our heart and then our brain. And what we end up doing is disconnecting the heart so that we regurgitate head stuff. When I love that, though. Expand your chest, bring your heart forward, because that is the connection that truth and authenticity and love speaks from. And so thank you, Elaine. I so appreciate you. Why5percentsucceed.com is the URL that you'll be able to download the 10 benefits. And do take the time to purchase the book. It's a great read. And oh my gosh, watch the show, Why 5% Succeed. Elaine's an amazing host, and I thoroughly enjoyed being on her show. So I'm sure that you'll enjoy watching past shows as well as guests that she's got coming on. Again, that's why5percentsucceed.com. You will see the URLs posted everywhere. And Elaine, thank you so much for being here today. To our audience, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for spending this quality time in the zone, the Biz Info Zone. So until next week, we'll see you soon. Bye for now. Remember, open hearts, open hearts. So go about the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the rest of this month with an open heart, and see what kind of open heart stuff comes to you. Bye for now.